It's a good morning to you. Welcome to Asake Online. My name is Zenzele Ndebele, and this is the show that brings you everything that happens, current affairs, academics, history, and everything interesting. And today, our guest is someone who's not new, but someone who has been writing books like, I don't know. I mean, it's very interesting that I think this is his third launch within a space of a year or so. And I'm talking about Professor Mutambara, and of course, he's launching another book, and this time he's looking at deploying AI to achieve the UN SDGs, how artificial intelligence can be used to attain or to achieve UN's SDGs, which are Sustainable Developmental Goals. In this book, it talks about 17 interconnected goals designed to address the world's most pressing challenges by 2030. That 2030 thing is here again, but this time is about AI. Prof, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for this opportunity to share with your listeners and viewers.
You have been writing books. I mean, you are always writing. Where do you get all this time?
I think it's important that we build a writing culture in the country. The problem is that globally, people from the global south are not doing enough writing. In particular, Africans are not writing. And if we don't write, we don't influence events. If we don't write, we don't learn. So writing is a learning opportunity. Writing is an opportunity to influence events. So in addition to a reading culture, we must develop a writing culture. And I'm trying to walk the talk.
Yeah, in this book of yours, to just get into the work, you describe artificial intelligence as staggering and transformative. In simple terms, what makes AI such a powerful tool in our society today?
In one word, productivity. What AI has done is to drive up productivity so that if an employee or a person was producing 10 items, they're now producing 10,000. While they're producing 50, they're producing 50,000. So AI has driven productivity per person very high. It has driven up efficiency. It has driven up innovation, such that every year, this year, for example, AI is contributing 10% of global GDP. It's a revolution in terms of economics. It's a revolution in terms of technology. But what I'm now pushing now is to say, why don't we link AI to human development? That is the foundation of this book.
Yeah, many people are worried, some are afraid of AI, and you argue that we should focus more on opportunities than risks. Why do you think this is the right way?
You see, because otherwise we miss out on the great opportunity. The dangers are there. Fake news, nuclear weapons, autonomous weapons, cybersecurity. The dangers are real. We must find ways of understanding the dangers and mitigating them. But for us in Africa, for us in Zimbabwe, there's so many opportunities in agriculture, in mining, in education, in healthcare, in manufacturing. So we're saying, in addition to understanding the dangers, in addition to mitigating the dangers, why don't we proactively unleash the benefits for our people in agriculture, the benefits for our people in healthcare, the benefits for our people in education, so that we can improve the quality of life of our people. In particular, when you say human development, there is no better place than the UN 17 SDG, the Sustainable Development Goals. They cover everything. They're so exhaustive. So if you want to improve the quality of life of people globally, you can start by looking at how we can achieve the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals. And my charge in this book is to say, listen, let us understand where we are having problems with the SDGs. Let us think about the broader interventions to achieve the SDGs. But more specifically, can we focus on transformative technologies? But more specifically, can we think about how we can use AI to achieve SDG number 1, 2, 3, up to 17?
Yeah, you mentioned something very important when you talk about the SDGs, but also, talking about AI. But for people who don't know or who are not familiar with AI, someone would say, but what is the connection between AI and the everyday challenges like education, like healthcare?
Okay. For example, in education, you can improve the quality of education. You can improve access to education. You can improve education by what we call personalization, where for every student, there is a unique AI tutor. For every teacher, there is a unique teaching assistant, an AI assistant. So by doing that, a student can be helped where they have difficulties, where they're doing well, it can be amplified. So you can customize education to the student, customize teaching to the teacher. Just as an example, in terms of education, the same applies to healthcare. The same applies to agriculture. There are so many ways you can improve yields in agriculture, the way you can improve access to markets in agriculture. So there are AI tools that can be used to improve our work in agriculture, our work in mining, but more importantly, driving up manufacturing. You know, our tragedy is that we have so many raw materials, but we're selling raw copper, raw platinum, raw nickel. With AI and innovation, we can then do manufacturing and move up the global value chain and be able to unlock more value, more economics for our people. So there's so much we can do. It's a revolution.
Yeah, the interesting part about AI is that people are talking about it, but whether they are doing something about it, that's where these challenges, especially with African governments. And we're always talking about the danger that developing countries will be left behind. Are we? Do you think, with your in your research, do you think our governments are geared to take up this opportunity in terms of leveraging on AI?
There's a very definite danger. You are very correct. We must not assume that the African is going to benefit from AI. We must not assume that the Zimbabwe is going to benefit from AI. We must actively use the technology. That's why I wrote that book to say, what do we need to do in agriculture? What do we need to do for poverty alleviation? What do we need to do to improve the quality of water? So unless and until we have urgency, as Africans, as Zimbabweans, yes, we are not going to benefit from this revolution. We are actually going to become victims if we're not careful. So governments must come up with what we call an AI vision for Zimbabwe, an AI strategy for Zimbabwe, but more importantly, an AI implementation matrix. Who's going to do what? When are they doing it? Where's the money coming from? How are you going to measure success or lack of it? How are you going to monitor and evaluate? We need this framework in Zimbabwe, in Malawi, in Zambia. Vision, strategy, implementation matrix. Beyond that, at the regional level, we must also have a SADC vision for AI, a SADC strategy for AI, but more importantly, a SADC implementation matrix. Beyond this region, we're saying at the African level, we must have the African vision for AI, the African strategy for AI, and then the African implementation matrix for AI. And those three levels, country, region, and content must talk to each other. In particular, the agenda will be to say, at those levels, what are we doing for SDG number one, number two, number three, up to 17? Why I chose the SDGs? The SDGs are so exhaustive, they address everything: climate change, poverty, gender justice, manufacturing. They are so exhaustive. So if you are able to come up with a plan for SDG number one, two, up to 17, you've solved the problems of your country. So you are very correct. If we are not careful, we, the Africans, we, the Zimbabweans, are going to be victims of the AI revolution. We must change that.
Yeah, one other interesting, you're talking about, being the victims of AI revolution. But in your book, you also talk about, decolonizing AI and, democratizing the access. How does that look like in practice?
Yeah. Listen, when you say in AI system, ChatGPT, Grok 4, Grok 5, and so on, these systems are very biased. They are serving the interests of the programmers. They're serving the agenda of the programmers in Silicon Valley, or even those in China as well, DeepSeek R1. They're not neutral. They have an agenda. So if we are not careful, we just use other people's AI, we're going to be victims of data colonialism, victims of technological, imperialism. So to solve that, we must have more women writing these programs, more Black people writing these programs. In other words, the African must be a creator of AI systems, not just a consumer. We must build and design our own AI systems, put our own values in there, put our own interests in there, just like the Americans have done, just like the Chinese have done. We have our own values, Ubuntu. I am because we are because I am, which is an indication of the value system of the African. So it is important that we become creators of AI such that we can also put our values and our interests in these systems. Democratization, if we're not careful, only a few people will have access to AI, access to digital, access to technology. So we must democratize access of digital technology, access of AI technology. So we must decolonize AI to make it serve our interests. We must make sure more people have access to AI. That is the agenda for democratization of AI, democratization of technology. Otherwise, we're going to become victims of data colonialism and digital imperialism. We have work to do.
Yeah, you look ahead in your book. You talk about the future, and for you, how do you imagine the future if we do AI right?
Right. The starting point is to say the SDGs are expiring in 2030. So let us do as much as we can within the next 5 years to achieve them. And when we are in 2030, obviously, not all of them will be achieved. We must start thinking about what framework now. The SDGs are done in 2030. What is the new framework? So we try to think about that in the book. And what is the role of technology in that new framework? Now, when we are successful in the AI revolution, there must be more jobs because of AI. There must be a better quality of life because of AI. This requires that we actively use AI to address our socio-economic problems. For example, on jobs, yes, there'll be job destruction because of AI. But the better news is that there will be job modification. Can we prepare our people for those modified jobs? Number three, even better, there will be new jobs created by AI. So when we are successful, the new jobs plus the modified jobs must be much, much more than the destroyed jobs. When that happens, AI creates more employment. AI becomes a benefit. If we are not careful, the destroyed jobs will be much more than the new jobs plus the modified. Then there's a problem. So by having agency, by being proactive, we can make sure we create new skills, new competencies, and capability to take up the new jobs. Prompt engineer, contract lawyer in cyberspace. There are new jobs that are being created, but don't assume that we're ready for them. We need a new curriculum to ensure that our young people can take advantage of the new jobs. What do we mean? They must have skills, problem-solving skills, critical thinking skills, entrepreneurship, digital skills, right mindset. All these values, all these skills are required for us to be effective in the AI revolution. In particular, we are saying in this book, financial literacy, entrepreneurship, digital skills, and AI skills must be mandatory for every university student. I would care less whether you're studying Shona, Ndebele, history, or law. You must do entrepreneurship as a subject. You must do financial literacy as a subject. You must do AI introduction as a subject. You must master digital skills. That way, our products from the universities will be employable. But more importantly, they can go out there and create new companies, new businesses. We must create job creators. We must create business of building, of businesses. But more importantly, whoever we produce from our university must be employable. We are saying now, don't show me your certificate. Show me what you can do. Skills, competencies, and capabilities are more important than the piece of paper called a BS certificate, a PhD certificate, or a master's. Show me what you can do. What are your skills? Is the question that you must ask yourself as you graduate.
So, Prof, the other thing that I wanted to ask you is when you are researching on this book, what surprised you the most?
What surprised me the most was that, in fact, sometimes we think that AI is so advanced, it's for Japan, it's for America, it's for Europe. I discovered that actually, because of our poverty, because of our lack of infrastructure, because of our lack of development, it can actually be easier to apply AI in our environment because we can do what's called leapfrogging, where we have no legacy technologies. And I realized that actually it might be cheaper, more profitable, and more effective to apply AI in poor Africa than in Japan and America. A good example to show what I'm talking about is mobile telephony. When mobile telephony came through, we had no physical phones. So we moved straight from no telecommunication to telecommunication, from no banking to mobile banking. So our lack of telephony physical infrastructure, our lack of banking physical infrastructure made it easier for us to leapfrog from no telecoms to mobile telephony, from no banking to mobile banking. So, in the same way, there are unique opportunities for us to leapfrog in the AI revolution where it is easier to adopt some of the AI innovations in poor Africa than in London, New York, and Berlin. That surprised me the most, that opportunity for leapfrog, where these so sophisticated technologies are easier to apply, cheaper to apply, and more effective in poor countries than rich ones.
Yeah, man, when as we go to the close, I want us to talk about the launch. You are going to be having the launch in Bulawayo on the 28th of August. Is the launch, and it will be at the Bulawayo Club. Maybe briefly tell us about the launch. What can people expect?
Right, so we're having the launch at the Bulawayo Club on the 28th of August at 5:30 p.m. It's an open event, a free event. We're going to get colleagues from academia in Bulawayo, in the business community, in civil society, in government, who are coming to speak at this event. So I'll present the book, but we have remarks from various people, like the Vice Chancellor of Solution University, Prof. Vice Chancellor of National University, Engineer Mabena. So many people are coming through to participate in this event in Bulawayo. It's a free event, and we want to make sure that we understand that we can link AI to human development. And the starting point is to say, let us look at the SDGs.
Yeah, I can safely say I've seen the lineup, and there is the who is who of the academics. Lots of doctors and professors and people who have really done a lot in the industry. And I would encourage people to take the opportunity to come and interact with the prof, and also with other people, because the issue of AI is something that we are talking about in all sectors of the economy, and everyone is talking about AI, either worried or excited, but we are talking about AI. And thank you very much, Prof, for taking this opportunity to be with us to talk about the new book that you have written and you'll be launching. And yeah, as usual, you're focusing around the issues of AI. And this time around, you're talking about deploying AI to achieve the UN's SDGs. And I think it's exciting. It's exciting times, and I hope these launches will also, encourage other people to write books.
Exactly. And we're saying that let us make AI work for ourselves. Let us not assume that we're going to benefit. We have to actively engage the technology and use it to solve our problems. And we are starting by looking at those 17 SDGs, which are very exhaustive and holistic. So let us work together to make Zimbabwe a successful economy by addressing the agenda of deploying AI to achieve the SDGs in Zimbabwe, Africa, and the Global South.
Thank you very much, Prof, for that. And let's meet at the launch. My name is Zenzel Ndebele.